time moves perpetually forward, and quite often we want to know what point we are in that march. For that purpose, we use clocks to know the time. Tingles with flyby. Daily ASMR videos. Hello. Welcome to our clock shop here. Wanting to know what the time is something that the human brain has wanted to be able to do for a long period of time. Timekeeping has a very long history. There's actually a session over at the library about that if you're interested in timekeeping devices. We just touch on it briefly here just to appreciate these amazing devices that we have in front of us. So some of the earliest known timekeeping devices were very simple clocks called a water clock. In these clocks, you would have a bowl of water, and it would have just a tiny hole that drips of water could come out. And so, because that is a regular interval between drops and in time, that could be used to track how much time had passed. And they actually had different bowls for different times of the year, because different conditions would lead to slightly different timings. So that, of course, is one of the earliest types of clocks. But you also had candle clocks, where they would be burnt so that you could track how much time had elapsed based on how far down the candle had burned. And more broadly, of course, the movement of the sun and the stars have been used to track calendar type time, but we're talking more about time within a single day, which would be measured by these clocks, which obviously don't tell us any sort of calendar. Now, going on from those types of timekeeping, there's of course the hourglass. This uses a similar principle to the water clock, having sand suspended in this top bowl with a narrow constriction. So just a little bit of sand can go through. That falls through at a regular rate. And so when all the sand has fallen to the bottom, it will be the same period of time each time you use that. And we see this in our modern day used quite often in board games and the like. Now, hourglasses are not as useful for determining time throughout a day. So knowing if it's 10 a.m. or 2 p.m. or something like that. And that's where the sundial comes in. The sundial is a wonderful device. It uses its particular spot on the globe combined with the shadow that would be cast by this central piece to track the time. As the sun moves through the sky, the shadow will move around the clock, and this can be used to tell you the time of day. And this is quite a popular method and was used in the 17th century and is still found throughout the world in lots of different areas, sort of as a yearning back to that historical time in most cases, I would say. The drawback of a sundial is obviously it can't tell you the time at night, as there's no sun present to cast a shadow. It also does not work in cloudy conditions, because again, the shadow is too dim in that case, or the sunlight not direct enough to make out the time. So there's been always a need and a want to have more accurate time-keeping devices. And the introduction of regulated gears into clocks was a big step in allowing clocks to keep more reliable time without the reliance upon the sun. And with big grandfather clocks, we see a pendulum method, which is used to keep time. Now in the modern time, we actually have a variety of ways that time is kept. You have the atomic clocks, but most often in these sort of clocks that we see, and you'll see on the back, it's a quartz clock. So quartz has a very stable property of how long it takes to resonate through a particular piece of quartz. And so that resonance can be used to track every single second of the day. And so this is what we see in most clocks that aren't digital. Electronic means are somewhat different, but we won't worry about those today. Today we'll focus on these ubiquitous clocks. Now you can see we have here 2 clocks. Obviously, the sound of too many clocks running would drive a poor clock shop owner mad. So we try to just display a couple at a time. That being said, we do have a vast array in the back, so feel free to come and visit another time and we can show you some other clocks. So I just want to show you both of these clocks in a little more detail. These are both designed to be wall clocks, so they're great to be put up on your wall and help you maintain a sense of time. The clock is something that can be overlooked a bit in our modern lives because we so often have access to the time right in our pockets, in our phones, on our computers. But it can be important to have a device where you can find the time without having to enter the world of distraction that's possible on any of our digital devices. So a wall clock is a wonderful option to serve that purpose. It's also known that a lot of young people nowadays have a hard time reading a clock like this. And so having one around can help assist and keep that practice alive. Now, with this particular clock, you can see it has a black face and just these silver lines representing the hours. There's no differentiation for each hour, so 1 versus 7 makes absolutely no difference. The edging here is a nice stainless steel, as are the minute and hour hands, which are chunky rectangular pieces. And our second hand is made out of the same material, but in a much narrower position, with a stouter end at one side. Now this clock, as we said, it is a quartz clock, so it shall keep the time very well for a long period of time. The quartz clocks are very reliable. On the back here is a dial that can be used to set the time, and it just takes a single AA battery. Also have your area here to hang the clock. This is a wall clock after all, and you just need something that can bear a small amount of weight. This clock is not too heavy, so you don't have to worry about its place on the wall. A simple nail, push pin, or screw will do the job. Now on to our second clock. You can see this clock is much larger. It's very sizable, and it makes quite a statement. This is a lovely piece to add a bit of flair to your living room or family room. the numbers are kept, as we can see, with Roman numerals. So here we can see that each number is different, but they're represented quite simply with these little pieces of metal. Perhaps I should move this one out of the way. There we go. And that's much better. So you can see we just have individual lines which form the Roman numerals, which help keep the minutes and hours on this clock. You have a large outer circle, a smaller inner circle, and then an even smaller right at the center circle, where our timekeeping device and hands all come together. Holding these together are these 4 straight bars. This is just a beautiful classic design. Really can make quite a statement in your living room. Adds an antique but also modern feel to the room, while of course allowing you to keep track of the time. It's a beautiful option. Here we do not have a second hand. Lends to the timeless nature of this clock that it's not perpetually just ticking round and round. If you watch imperceptibly, you can see, almost imperceptibly I should say, the minute hand inching ever forward. But it's very slight and can make you feel like you have more time. So I think this is a wonderful option. It goes with so many colors. It's black, it's durable as it's made out of metal, and it's just a stunning piece. So, are you interested in either of the clocks that I've shown you?